page number 120, verses 214. So we had heard Portia's speech on mercy. Why should Shylock show mercy? So after she concludes, Portia concludes saying that if you are able to mix justice and mercy, then you will become really a noble person. If not, the strict laws of Venice will have to condemn the merchant to his predicament. That's where we stopped. Now Shylock replies, my deeds upon my head, I crave the law, the penalty, and forfeit of my bond. My deeds upon my head means I take responsibility for what I am doing. I am responsible for what I am doing. I am not worried about other things. So I would like to have the bond. I crave. Crave is a great desire, a strong desire. I crave for the due, the penalty, and the according to bond. Whatever be the penalty according to the bond for future, I would like to have it. I have a great desire for it. Portia, is he not able to discharge the money? So now she is finding out another law point. Is he, that is Antonio, is he not able to discharge? Discharge is repay the money. Okay, the merchant has borrowed the money. Is he not in a position to repay it? Bassanio. So though the question is addressed to whom we do not know, but Bassanio, friend of Antonio, replies, yes, here I tender it for him in the court. Yeah, twice the sum. If that will not suffice, I will be bound to pay in 10 times over. On forfeit of my hands, my head, my heart. If this will not suffice, it must appear that malice weighs down truth. And I beseech you, trust once the law to your authority to do a great right, do a little wrong, and curb this cruel devil of his will. So now Bassanio says, my lord, I am ready to pay, not just the sum, double of it. A tender means I give it for him in the court, yeah, twice the sum. That is, instead of 3,000 ducats, I am ready to give 6,000 ducats. If that will not suffice, suffice means if it's not sufficient, not enough, then I will be bound to pay in 10 times over. That is, instead of 33,000 ducats, I am ready to pay 30,000. On forfeit of my hands, my head, my heart. That if I'm not able to pay, if I don't keep up my word, I'm ready to forgo my hands, my head, and my heart. That is, I am ready to sacrifice myself. You can put me to death if I don't fulfill the promise I make. That is, if I'm ready to pay twice the amount, or if not sufficient, even 10 times, that is 30,000 ducats. If this will not suffice, it must appear that malice bears down truth. And if Shylock is going to say that twice the amount is not sufficient, then I am offering 10 times the amount, 30,000. Even then he says, no, that is not sufficient. It would mean that he is driven by malice. Malice is evil. His intentions are led by evil thoughts. He is not really interested in getting the money. He is interested in something else. So, if he does not agree even to have 30,000 ducats, it means his purpose is devilish. It is filled with evil thoughts. Now, Bassanio is giving a suggestion to the lawyer. The newly came the young lawyer. I have a suggestion to you. I have a request to make. What is it? And I beseech you, I request you, rest once the law to your authority. Rest means W-R-E-S-T. Rest means twist. W-R-E-S-T. Rest means wrestle. So rest means to twist, to turn. I would request you to turn the law a little bit. Just for once. No need to make so much of change. Need not make change for every time. Just for once, make a little change in the law. To do a great right, do a little wrong. I know that it will be a wrong thing to change the law like that. But you are doing a small little wrong in order to achieve a great thing. Because you understand, as a lawyer, I'm offering him not only the double the amount, 10 times the amount. Even then, if he is not ready to accept it, please change the law a little bit and make it favorable to Antonio. And this devilish Jew will be in mess. And curb this cruel devil of his will. And curb is restrain. Restrain means to stop. To stop. Stop this cruel devil of his will. That is, his will is his desire to have a pound of flesh. So that is Bassanio's speech is very clear. Make a little change so that Antonio is saved. Portia. It must not be. There is no power in Venice can alter a decree established. It will be recorded for a precedent. And many an error by the same example will rush into the state. It cannot be. It cannot be. So Portia says, no. We cannot alter the law. We cannot make a little change in the law. That's not allowed. That's not right. Why? It must not be. There is no power in Venice can alter a decree established. A decree, a law is established one. We have no right to change it. It will be recorded for a precedent. 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 Precedent is an example. In the court, when the judges give a verdict, normally they look into the former cases. They study so many cases similar to such cases. And then in this kind of same sort of cases, what the verdict was given in the past, that they will take as an example. So now Portia says, if I am going to make some changes for the sake of saving Antonio, it will be recorded for a precedent. It will become an example. That is, as done earlier, and many an error by the same example will rush into the state. Once it is done like that, tomorrow another case will come up and they will refer back to it, and lot of unwanted error will be committed. Therefore, it cannot be. Will rush into the state means will rush into the affairs of the state. Lot of wrong examples. Because of this example, lot of wrongdoing will be entering into the affairs of the state. I hope you understood. If you haven't understood, I'll give you an example. Sometime back, last time, when the new CBI director, Central Bureau of Investigation, CBI director was appointed. Just before the appointment, the government, that is Modi government, had so many people they had planned out, and they proposed a few names who could be the next CBI director. But very strangely, the court ruled out all the names proposed by the government. They said none of them are eligible for the appointment. Why? Because all the names they proposed, all of them were to retire within 6 months. So they said there is a rule which says that anyone who is going to retire within 6 months should not be appointed, because even before they start functioning or before doing anything serious, they will be out. So there is a rule, and in such and such a case, such and such a year, the same thing was done. Same proposal, same sort of proposal was made, and by the rule it was removed and the person was not appointed. So they cited the previous example saying that such a year, in the same kind of instance, CBI director or some sort of that appointment was stopped because only 6 months were left for the retirement. So all the names proposed by the government was removed. Then another officer from Bihar was appointed to CBI director. So now you understand. This is the context. Okay. So Portia says that cannot be done. That will create an unwanted problem in the state. Shylock. A Daniel come to judgment. Yeah, a Daniel. Oh, wise young judge, how I do honor thee. They are given the reference on the right hand side. The story of Susanna and the elders in the Apocrypha. It's a story in the Old Testament of the Christian Bible. So, Daniel is supposed to be a great judge who can give the right judgment. So, there is a woman called Susanna, and the elders wanted to have some affair with her, and she was a good woman. She refused to yield. As a result, they together planned out that she should be put to trouble. She should be put. So they said she has some affair with some other people. She is not a woman of good moral, immoral woman. If somebody is immoral, then they should be stoned to death. That's a punishment in the Jewish culture. So they together planned and wanted to finish her off. And the matter came to Daniel, a holy man, and he was known for his judgment. He called each of the elders separately, and he asked each of them, where did you see her having an affair with another person? And all the three of them said in different places. One said under such and such a tree, another said in such and such a place, third one said another place. All the three of them said, because they hadn't planned it out, and never they thought Daniel was asked like that. So each of the elder gave a different answer, and Daniel understood it was a hooked up story, and he punished the elders instead of the woman. So that is Susanna's story. So Shylock says Daniel has come to judgment. Here is another Daniel, that is Balthasar, Portia in the form of Balthasar. Oh, wise young judge, how I do honor thee. Portia, I pray you, let me look upon the bond. So now Portia says, okay, let me have one more look at the bond. Please give me the bond. Here it is, most reverend doctor, here it is. So Shylock hands over the bond to Portia. Portia, Shylock, there is thrice the money offered thee. So Portia still wants to change. So he gives him a kind of hook like, or giving him an advice like reminder. She's reminding him, Shylock, don't forget, thrice the amount is offered. You'll get plenty of money. Please have it. Shylock, an oath, an oath. I have an oath in heaven. Shall I lay perjury upon my soul? No, not for Venice. You remember earlier Shylock had said, by the holy Sabbath, he had made an oath that he will have only the penalty, only the forfeiture, nothing else. So now he is repeating that, saying, an oath, an oath. I have a promise, madam, sir, I have a promise. I have an oath in heaven. That is, in the sight of God, I have made an oath. Shall I lay perjury upon my soul? Perjury meaning is given there, sin of oath breaking. Somebody is breaking an oath, and it's a sin. Once you make the oath, you have to keep it up. Shall I say that, should I make a break, should I break the law? Should I break the law? I don't think that you will ask me to break the law. I have made a promise that I shall have the penalty. No, not for Venice. In the name of the state of Venice, I shall not break the promise. Portia, why? This bond is forfeit. Forfeit means has been broken. So, meanwhile, Portia was going through the bond. And she says, yes, you're right. You have taken an oath and you don't want to break it. You are quite right. It has been broken. The bond has been broken. And lawfully by this the Jew may claim a pound of flesh to be by him cut off nearest the merchant's heart. Be merciful. Take thrice the money. Bid me tear the bond. So, Portia says, you are quite right. You have every right to have a pound of flesh close to the chest of Antonio. Because the bond is very clearly said, and Antonio has broken the bond. He has to be paid in time. So you have every right to have a pound of flesh. Thumbs up to you. Hands up. Then she pauses and then she says, be merciful, take thrice the money, bid me tear the bond. Once more, Portia is giving an incentive to Shylock. Be merciful, show mercy. Take 3 times the amount, and I shall tear into pieces this bond. Shylock, when it is paid according to the tenor, yes, he can tear the bond. When it is paid according to the tenor means as per the terms of the bond. Shylock is very smart. He says, I have no difficulty in your tearing the bond. You can do it. When it is paid. So, when the terms and conditions of the bond is fulfilled, that is when I get the forfeiture, a pound of flesh. After that, he can tear it, no problem. It doth appear you are a worthy judge. Worthy is good. It looks that you are a good judge. You know the law, your exposition has been most sound. A lawyer should know his law and he should have the right understanding and explanation of the law. That is important. Knowing the law is one thing. You must be able to explain it correctly. You seem to be an expert judge. You know the law well. That is, you have a thorough grasp of the law and you have the ability to grasp the law. Sound is good. Sound is very good. That means your understanding of the law is very good and your explanation is excellent. I charge you by the next page. I charge you by the whereof You are a well-deserving pillar. Proceed to judgment. By my soul, I swear, there is no power in the tongue of man to alter me. I stay here, my bond. I charge you by the. Charge you means I urge you. I urge you. That is, I request you by the whereof you are well-deserving pillar. By the whereof means by what from what you have done so far or what you have said so far, I understand you are a well-deserving pillar. A well-deserving pillar is a support. You seem to be a great support to me because you understood the law well and you explained it well. Proceed to judgment. Go ahead and give the judgment. By my soul, I swear, there is no power in the tongue of man. No power in the tongue of man means nothing that anyone can say will change my mind. There is no power in the tongue of man to alter me. I stay here on my bond. There is nothing that any person can say is going to change my mind. Nothing can change. Whatever people say, they have a freedom, they are free to say. But that is not going to change my mind. I stay here on my bond. That is, I insist on having the bond. Or I stick to my demand for the forfeit. Nobody can change me. Please go ahead and give the judgment. Antonio, most heartily I do beseech the court to give the judgment. So when Antonio heard Shylock speaking like this, Antonio says, most heartily, that is, with all my heart, I beg you. He's telling Portia, I beg you wholeheartedly, please go ahead and give the judgment just as the Jew wants it. Portia, why then thus it is? Why then thus it is? That is, well then here it is. You must prepare your bosom for his knife. Why then thus it is? Why then thus it is? So, why then thus it is? That is a well then there it is. Well then there it is. Why then thus it is means well then there it is. You must prepare your bosom for his knife. Bosom is chest. Bosom is chest. You must prepare your chest for the knife, for his knife, for Shylock's knife. That is, if so, if you are Antonio, if you are asking me to go ahead and give me the judgment as Shylock wishes, well, then here it is. I'm going to give the judge. Get ready with your chest for Shylock's knife.